about all of this with Major General Mick. He's a retired Australian Army officer and author of War Transformed, the Future of 21st Century Great Power Competition and Conflict. He is coming to us from Canberra. And good to see you again, sir. We've seen the horrific video of that apartment building being hit in Chernihiv, casualties, major damage, people screaming in the aftermath. I mean, it is outrageous, obviously, but do you see this as part of the Russian playbook? I mean, what do you fear is coming for Ukrainian cities?
Well, hello, Michael. It's good to be talking to you again. I think last time we spoke, we speculated that we would see a far more brutal phase of Russian operations, given their lack of progress up to that point. What we've seen over the last 72 hours or so is, unfortunately and sadly for the people of Ukraine, that is indeed playing out in places like Chernihiv, Kiev, and Mariupol, where the Russian army is rolling out the exact same playbook it used to what it thought was great success in Syria, which in fact is military corrupt, unethical, and will probably result in lots of war crimes trials at some point in the future.
Yeah. I'm curious, do you see a time imperative here for Vladimir Putin that, he needs to move before the sanctions bite at home, people there start to perhaps learn exactly what is going on, see coffins returning? Does that put pressure on him? I mean, this could be a long war in one form or the other.
I think it will be a long war, and that is the one thing that Putin just cannot afford. The international sanctions will start biting. As you said, the coffins will start coming home. But more importantly, the Russian people will start finding out what is truly going on here. There was a wonderful letter from a Russian in the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists today that talked about they don't know what's going on. This is being kept from them. When the Russian people find out what's being done in their name with their children, many of whom are dying, it will be very interesting to see what takes place domestically in Russia.
Yeah, very good point. The Ukrainians, I mean, unquestionably, and we've talked about this, they've performed well. But is it a matter of time, I mean, when the enemy is so numerically superior?
I think that there's a strong chance that the Russians will eventually overrun the Ukrainians, but we cannot write off the Ukrainians. They have such heart, such courage, and they have tremendous international support starting to roll in across their western borders. So we shouldn't roll off the Ukrainian forces yet, but certainly the Russian forces are large, they're deadly, and they're using large amounts of firepower and violence to achieve what they want in the south, in the east, and in the north at the moment.
Yeah, we've also spoken about the potential for insurgency developing if the traditional war is lost. How quickly could that transition be? I mean, the pivot to insurgency, and do you think it would be effective?
Well, I think the Ukrainian military has outthought the Russians at every step of this campaign. I would be very surprised if the Ukrainian high command aren't already preparing for some kind of insurgency. Certainly, many institutions in the West have been thinking about it, and I have no doubt that there would be many nations that would provide for that insurgency if indeed it was to manifest.
One extraordinary thing about what's happened in this country, and we've seen it with our own eyes, is how many civilians are actually taking up arms to defend their country. I mean, the defence capability multiplied many times over in days, really. But how effective, in your view, can civilians, just handed a weapon or a Molotov cocktail be? And then there's the risks to them, which is clear. Is it helpful, or in some ways not, in a purely military sense?
Certainly, in one respect, it's tremendously heartening to see the people of Ukraine stepping up to defend their country. It's just been inspiring to see. But, trained soldiers take time to not just build individual skills, but team skills that are so vital in a military organisation. The other problem with civilians picking up weapons in this circumstance is we run the risk of Russians seeing every Ukrainian civilian as a combatant, and that can lead to tragic outcomes.
I'm curious in the broader picture. Do you think what is happening in Ukraine, what has happened, has exposed weaknesses in the NATO defence strategy in Europe in terms of containing a threat? I mean, and we've mentioned this too. Putin, he's been sanctioned, he's been re-sanctioned, he's been brutally sanctioned, and he has not blinked once. Do you think there needs to be a rethinking of NATO strategy, not just to stop Putin, but to stop the next Putin?
Well, I think we've seen a fairly quick rethinking of NATO's strategy over the last week. I think for a lot of governments, they finally realise what they're dealing with here, and the rapid response in sanctions and lethal and non-lethal aid is representative of that. Now, whether NATO needs to go further is, something for European governments to decide. But I have no doubt when you have a look at the German government drastically increasing its defence spending, and a whole range of other governments across the world, seeing what's going on in Ukraine, they now know what they're dealing with in Putin. And I have no doubt they will look at other authoritarian regimes very differently from here on in.
Yeah. Always good to get your analysis. Major General Mick Ryan, really appreciate it. Thank you.